Good day everyone, I am Rene Larique, together with Arvin Comendador, and we are here to present the topic about early civilizations art. Here are the table of contents. First is the Stone Age. Stone Age roughly spans the 14,000 to 2000 BCE. Stone Age is a term used to describe a period of history when stones were used to make tools for survival. The term conjures an image of men and women dressed in skins, huddling before a fire in a cave. True prehistoric humans would not necessarily possess the complex rational capabilities to tell their story through written records and accounts. Some artifacts in the form of cave paintings and sculptures would serve as the storytellers. There are three periods of Stone Age. First is Paleolithic, the late years of the Old Stone Age. Second is Mesolithic, Middle Stone Age. And lastly, the Neolithic, New Stone Age. As the early humans start to transition from being nomads to permanent settlers, their everyday activities also had changes, which is evident through the materials and even the works of art they have created. Despite changes as a result of adapting to their environment, there are central themes in their artworks. Most ancient artworks depict religious symbols, a wide array of organisms from nature and activities of everyday life. Next is prehistoric art. The Stone Age has witnessed how humans were able to lead more stable lives and eventually come up with permanent shelters and tools for survival. To complement this stability and sense of permanence, early humans also turned to the creation of paintings and sculptures that depict humans, animals, and their natural habitats. Paleolithic art is a product of climate change. As the climate got colder, part of the early humans' instinct to look for shelters that would provide them with warmth. Caves became protective havens for the early humans, and these caves paved the way for the birth of their first attempt to create art. Some early humans already used their own version of spray painting techniques. They used ground pigments blown through reds or hollowed out bones. They also used foreshortening and contrasting of lights and shadows to create three-dimensional forms and seemingly real representations of animals. Example of this is Hall of Bulls found in a cave in Lascaux, France, and spotted horses and negative hand imprints in Pitch Merle, France. Artworks during Paleolithic periods were not just decorative items but served as religious rituals and reflections of early beliefs of human and life fertility. One of its work is the Venus of Willendorf. The representation may show the importance of taking care of these body parts for procreation and consequently the survival of species. Next is Neolithic art. Neolithic art has developed especially when life for the early humans has become more stable. They have learned to cultivate the land and domesticate animals. By 4000 BCE, there were several monumental and architectural structures erected. One of them is the Stonehenge located in southern England. The purpose of this fascinating edifice remains a mystery up to this day and age. Some regard it as a temple while others see it as a complex calendar that tracks the movements of the both sun and moon. Others ascribe some magical element to it by associating it with Merlin the magician from King Arthur's story. Whatever purpose of it was built on, it still remains as one of the architectural wonders the world has ever seen.
Next is Egyptian art. The fertile ribbon starts from the banks of the Nile River, which flows north to Africa and ventures into the Mediterranean. It is in this very ribbon where early Egyptians recognized the integral role of the Nile River to their daily lives. The Egyptian civilization can be divided into three periods: Old, Middle, and New Kingdom. Looking at the three periods can be noticed that for Egyptian, art should be something religious and spiritual. There may have been different in the techniques used and style emphasized, but there are common denominators among the artworks created during their respective time periods. During the Old Kingdom, it was evident that the religion was bound to the afterlife. A concrete manifestation of this would have to be erection of tombs. But the tombs were not just for keeping the dead bodies of important people, particularly the pharaohs. They serve as a shelter for their next journey, which is the afterlife. They decorated the tombs with everyday objects that would reflect the day-to-day activities, as if the afterlife is a mere continuation of what transpired on earth. One of the cosmetic palettes found in Egypt was called the Namur palette. It was palette that utilized and applied dark colors around King Namur's eyes. It was a symbol that commemorates the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. The unification was significant because it was marked the beginning of their civilization. During the Old Kingdom, one of the architectural wonders was also constructed. The pyramid in Giza served as a tomb since their main purpose is to provide a resting place for the pharaohs. These pyramids are massive in size, and they were constructed using roughly more than 2 million limestone blocks. The stone used for the pyramids were quarried from a nearby plateau. Middle Kingdom. One of the key features of the Middle Kingdom is a shift in the political ranking. Emergence of a powerful group of the landlord that threatened the authority of the rule of the pharaoh. Because of the struggle between these two influential sides, art has taken backseat during this period. Art got back during the rule of King Mentuhotep. Experimentation in terms of style that transpired during this period. Portrait sculpture and fresco paintings were freely drawn, some of the style that emerged during this period. During this period, Egypt fell into the hands of Hyksos. This Asiatic tribe introduced Bronze Age weapons and horses to the Egyptian. When these foreign invaders were overthrown, the Egyptians formed the New Kingdom. The New Kingdom. Art of the New Kingdom had reference from both of the preceding kingdoms. Monuments and sculptures were still linked with death and reverence for the deceased. During the previous kingdom, tombs were just used for worshipping the dead. But in the New Kingdom, they started having mortuary temples. Mortuary temples or funerary temples were temples that were erected adjacent to or in the vicinity of rural tombs in the ancient Egypt. The temples were designed to commemorate the reign of the pharaoh under whom they were constructed, as well as for use by the king cults after death. After the New Kingdom, Egypt witnessed the Amarna Revolution, led by the King Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti. During his reign, King Amenhotep wanted to revolutionize the arts and religion. King Amenhotep changed his name to Akhenaten, which came from Aten, who is the sun god. During this period, the only god to be revered was Aten. Egypt became a believer of one god, and he ordered to tear down all the monuments of other gods. Most sculpture during this period had curving lines and full body forms. Next is Queen Nefertiti. There is emphasis to lifelike features of the face like elongate jaw and thick-lidded eyes. Most artists created artworks that are natural and seemingly real, highlighting the feature of their subject. Naturalism was not only used to depict the pharaoh, but also was used for members of the royal family. The bust of Queen Nefertiti has a long and sensuous neck. Next is King Tutankhamen. He became a king at a very young age and died at the age of 18. Howard Carter discovered his tomb in 1922. They were astonished to find gold artworks, that the coffin was made out of solid gold. The body of the young king was ordered in linen and a gold mask covered his face. And that's all, and thank you for listening.